Zoran Mamdani, the 34-year-old Democratic Socialist, is the winner, as expected, and will be the next mayor here in New York City. Numbers coming in early. The check mark is next to Mamdani, and he ran a campaign driven by the youth vote here in New York City.
Hello, YouTubers. Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to pray for New York City. This is what happens when we don't engage with the youth and allow schools to doctrinate our children into believing an ideology that has never worked and has only caused suffering and despair throughout humanity. Schumer and Jeffries demand meeting with Trump to end record government shutdown. Well, I wonder why they're demanding it now, ladies and gentlemen. Do you all see what's been going on? Do you all see who they really care about? It's not who they care about, but what they care about, and that is retaining power. They care nothing about all of these people that they used as pawns, and they will continue to use them as pawns as long as they let them. What I can say is this: it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to New York City. The GOP has learned a lot after last night, especially that the new face of the Democrats is the Democratic Socialist of America. That is, in my opinion, a terrible thing, and history does not lie. Teach your children what socialism is. Teach them what communism is. Show them the facts of our history, not as a nation, but as a world. Teach them what democide is. I'm not even going to go into what democide is, but look it up. Go to the University of Hawaii webpage, type in democide in the last 120 years or so, and see how many lives it has cost. It's more lives than all of the wars combined, but I digress. A report overnight suggests that several moderate Senate Democrats, they're all of a sudden prepared to break ranks and vote to end what has become the longest U.S. government shutdown in history. The push to reopen the government comes conveniently after major victories for Democrats in Tuesday's elections. And they go on to say the three major Democrats that won, which was the New York City Mayor, Mamdani, and a couple of governors, one from Virginia and one from New Jersey. And it's very unfortunate that the youth don't study the examples that are right in front of us of things that are happening right now to use in order to make decisions that would better their lives instead of the detriment that they are headed into. I can only see what's going to happen in New York City. I can see a lot of people, the people that provide most of the taxes to sustain that city, fleeing. Why? Because in a socialist government, ladies and gentlemen, all that the government knows how to do is take from those that produce in order to give the minimal amount to those that don't, in order so that they can stay in power. Now, Britain is a great example. Britain is doomed, they say, under Labour, as wealthy scramble to get the heck out of London. Why are they getting the heck out of London? It's not because they don't love London. It's because the policies are chasing them out of London. But, when I took a look at this, it says Labour. What is Labour? And I came to this right here. It says, to what extent can the Labour Party still be considered socialist? It wasn't a surprise to me that in London they are setting forth policies that are socialist, and now there are people that are escaping. The only problem with socialist policies, well, not the only problem, but I would say one of the major problems, is that the policies allow those that have the capital to leave, but not those that are just making it day to day. So there's always going to be a constituency for this party. Why? Because they've captured the masses. The Labour Party, a prominent force on the left in Britain, while the membership cards label it as a democratic socialist party, some argue, echoing Tony Benn, that Labor is not inherently socialist, but rather a party encompassing individuals with socialist leanings. In other words, it's socialist. And I want to talk to you about socialism really briefly, because every time that socialism comes up, I hear people say, well, there's other countries that are socialist and they know how to do it right. We just have to learn how to do it right here in the US and everything will be great. We will have our utopia where no one has to work, only if the government tells them to work, and they will still receive what they need in order to live. I'll tell you this, I see talent leaving New York City. I see especially the wealthy leaving New York City in masses in the years to come. Because eventually enough is enough. Ask yourself, if you spent years in your mother's garage developing something that's going to be a betterment to humanity, and you sacrificed and sacrificed and sacrificed, and then finally you got your big break, and whatever it is that you develop makes it to the market, and you make $1 on each item, and then you sell 1 billion items, well, you're now a billionaire. Well, no, you're not. You know why? Because the government is going to take away most of it. Who would want to innovate if they knew that their hard work, or what represents the years of hard work, when they knew that they were going to have to give away most of what they earned for the sacrifice that they made? Not very many people would. And if you say you would, God bless you. Go out and do it, but do it voluntarily.
Socialism is a system or condition of society in which the means of production are owned and controlled by the state or the people. So what the hell does that mean? Well, under socialism, you can still own your toothbrush or a pair of shoes or some other sort of good, but you are not permitted to have private ownership of the very capital which is needed to produce those goods and services. No, those things must be owned by either the state or some kind of collective. And while we have ample examples of such a theory failing miserably when put into practice, there are still a lot of people that insist it's a really good theory. And maybe that's because there is some comfort in believing that if only the right people were in charge, and that all of us could agree on a particular course of action, then we could focus our collective efforts on making all of our lives better. And ultimately, any theory which subordinates your individual ideas, creativity, or goals to a collective in the name of the common good is going to run into a couple of serious problems. And that first problem is, who gets to decide the common good? Because you as an individual certainly don't. The collective decides, which is to say some sort of simple majority. And if you and your ideas are outvoted or outmaneuvered politically when the time comes to draft the next 5-year plan, well, tough for you. The second problem with the system is that it degrades our humanity and treats people as if we're nothing more than producers or consumers. Under a socialist system, you're no longer an individual. You're simply a cog in the machine that needs to be managed toward a specific goal which will be determined by someone other than you. And this is why Alexis de Tocqueville warned that socialism calls in fact for the forfeiture of human liberty, to the point where I would say that it was simply a new system of serfdom.
So out of curiosity, I went ahead and typed into Google, what are 5 socialist countries that have succeeded? And I actually got something. And I was amazed. I'm like, I've never heard of a socialist country that has succeeded. So I went ahead and I'm like, okay, in this article, we discussed 5 socialist countries that have succeeded. The 5th one, it says Iceland, okay? And then the 4th one, Norway, okay? Finland, that's surprising. Denmark, and then Sweden. But then I was like, you know what? Let's just do some real simple fact checking. So I went back to Google and I asked it, hey, is Iceland a socialist country? No, Iceland is not a socialist country. It is a capitalist country that follows the Nordic model, a system combining a free market economy with a strong social safety net. Now this Mamdani, I've heard him talk a couple of times about opening up state-run supermarkets. Does that sound like a free market economy? You see, in New York, and I'm sure in other cities, but I'm picking on New York because I've read this or heard this somewhere, so you can fact check me if you want. There are thousands of empty apartments. And you know that in New York City, getting an apartment is like winning the lottery, especially if you can get one that you can afford, right? But why are there tens of thousands of empty apartments? You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because of government. They make it impossible for landlords to raise the rents so that they can be able to renovate the apartments that have been left empty and bring them up to code. So if a landlord is going to rent out an apartment but has to bring that apartment up to code before he rents it out, and what he spends on bringing that apartment up to code is going to be more than what he can collect in rent, who would do that? What kind of a business model is there out there where you lose money and stay successful? There is none. Well, get ready, because it's going to get a lot worse for you, New York City. A lot worse. But in a way, maybe this is something that can bring us hope, that we can use this as an example of what not to do in the next 2, 3, or 4, or 5 years. We will be able to see. This is going to be somewhat of an experiment, and we'll be able to see in the next several years what happens in New York City when there is a socialist, a declared socialist, in charge. Finland is not a socialist country, but it has a mixed economy that combines a capitalist market with a strong social welfare system, often referred to as the Nordic model. You see, here they have a choice, and they choose to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give up this much of my income so that we can have this benefit that the government will oversee. But the way that it's being put in New York City, there won't be a choice. Price controls is not a choice. Telling people how much they can charge for rent, that is not a choice. If you increase the taxes, that's fine and dandy. However, the problem with that is that you're going to see an exodus of millionaires instead of people coming into the city. And it will in turn implode on itself eventually. Is Norway socialist? Norway is not a socialist country. It has a mixed market capital economy, pretty much the same thing as the other ones. Is Denmark socialist? Denmark is not a socialist country. It has a market economy with a robust social welfare system, often referred to as social democracy or operating under the Nordic model. Is Sweden socialist? No, Sweden is not socialist. It is a market economy with an extensive social welfare system. Do we, here in the United States, not have an extensive social welfare system? We spend almost $1.5 trillion on Social Security. We spend $1 trillion plus a year on Medicaid. We spend $9 billion a month just on SNAP and EBT entitlements. And the list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. What more do people want? How can they expect to get something for nothing? Because nothing is what they're going to get when innovation stops. Thank goodness that we have the Constitution, that at least at a large scale, I don't believe that this would be possible. However, after the last administration, maybe I'm wrong about that. And the worst part about the indoctrination that this country has been under for the last several years is that now a quarter of Americans believe that political violence is justified. It's one of Charlie Kirk's, may he rest in peace, one of his most frequent sayings, and it was that when we as a nation stop talking, then the only alternative will be for us to start fighting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that things are going to continue to get worse over time for the next several years. I'm on record saying that I think that we're going to continue to get worse probably all the way through like the year 2030, 2032 or so, because what we are in is we are in a cycle, and the part of the cycle that we're in is called the fourth turning, right? The fourth turning is the cycle of a human life that is the cycle of crisis. And just like a human life has cycles, so does a country, a nation. We are now in the fourth turning of this generational cycle. And things will continue to get worse until we make it back to the first turning. Between now and the next turning, which will be the first turning of the new long cycle, there's going to be crisis. There's going to be a lot of suffering. And people are going to have to overcome this in order for us to get to the next place, which is going to be a good place. However, there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead. And that's why I'm such an advocate of staying prepared in every single way that you can. That's going to be it for this video, ladies and gentlemen, but stay tuned because I want to talk about two of my favorite companies that have been AP partners for years, right? And the reason I'm talking about them is because the deadline is almost here where people can enter to win something for free. Free, ladies and gentlemen. What's better than free, right? You can enter to win something for free. And also, if you're in the market for any of these things, you can go ahead and click on their link. And they're having flash sales, and especially the sale that SIMPURE is having for the AP community. That is an awesome sale that will guarantee that you have clean water to drink. So let me show you really quick here. SIMPURE is having a great sale, and the best price that they're offering is on the Q3 RO reverse osmosis system that you put under the sink. It's very easy to install. They have it at an incredible price. If you take a look at the links that I'll leave on the pinned comment here on this video, there's going to be two links, one for their official site and one for Amazon. I believe that if you go through the Amazon site and use that code, that you save like another 10 or 15 bucks off this price that you see here on the screen. All right, go take a look at this video right here. And that's the entry video. All right. So I worked out a deal with SIMPURE that for every 10 units that they sell, they're going to give me a unit for free to give away. Right now, I think we're up to like 4 or 5 units. I haven't gotten any refreshed numbers in a few days, but I'm guessing we're going to have at least 5 units to give away. And in order for you to be entered to win one of these RO systems, you have to go watch that video and just follow the simple instruction. However, watch the video, because if you haven't watched that video, once you see the information that I have on there, you're going to be convinced that you need an RO system. Everyone in America needs an RO system. So go watch that video. Go ahead and enter to win one at no cost to you as long as you live within the United States. And I'm going to be announcing the winners of the RO systems that we give away probably in about another week and a half to 10 days or so. Maybe the next 10 days, I'll put up a video announcing all the winners. Now let's talk about OUPES because they're having a great sale as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that I'm not being sponsored for either of these. All right, SIMPURE is not paying me for this. I'm not making any commission on any of the RO systems that they sell. I did this because I want people to get an RO system because they need one, whether they know it or not. All right, and OUPES is not sponsoring me for this either. It's that OUPES is a great company. We've been together for a long time now, and I like to take care of them because they take care of people. All right? I like companies that give back to the community, and OUPES certainly does that. By the way, talking about how OUPES helps people, if you go here to OUPES Help, right, and you need a solar generator, maybe you have a medical condition where you need a medical device or something, but you can't afford one, you go to OUPES Help right here, okay? And you fill out a small questionnaire. And what OUPES does is they take 5% of all of their revenue and they give it back to the community by giving people that can't afford a solar generator, giving them one for free. There's a lot of people in the AP community that have gotten a free solar generator from OUPES over the years just because they ask. So it doesn't hurt to ask. Another thing is here, the Guardian 6000 is OUPES's brand new solar generator that's going to come out here pretty soon. I believe sometime in the month of November. I think probably towards the end of November. But if you come over here and you hit subscribe, you'll be able to subscribe to their email, and they'll let you know whenever there's a flash sale or a sale and whenever the Guardian 6000 is going to come out. But by doing that, you enter to win a Guardian 6000 for free. All right. And the great thing about it is this, is that for everyone that subscribes, we're up to 3,218. That is so awesome. How much do you all want to bet that most of the people that have subscribed to OUPES to win this free Guardian are from the AP community? All right. So we're up to 3,218 people subscribe. The more that subscribe, the cheaper that the launch will be on the Guardian 6000. As you can see, when it first started out, it's about $2,300-$2,400 for the unit when it first started out. But for the more people that subscribe, the cheaper that it gets. Right now, it's under $2,000 now. So I think that's great. If you haven't done so, go over here and subscribe, even if you don't mean to buy one, because you have a chance to win one, and you'll also be helping someone else who actually does buy one. Go ahead and get it for a cheaper price. Now, the Guardian 6000 is awesome. I mean, I haven't actually reviewed one. They offered to send me one so that I can do a review video, but I said, no, right now I'm not doing review videos. Review videos for me are pretty stressful because you're usually on a timeline, and I don't like to have the timelines. I said, however, whenever you're going with it and they're in full production and everything, if you want to send me one, you can send me one. I'll let you know what I think about it, and I'll let people know what I think about it. But it looks awesome. It has 240 volt capability, which means that you can go ahead and hook up your well to it, something that a lot of people have been asking for over the years, and OUPES has now delivered. I mean, it's expandable to, let me see, how much is it expandable? Look at this. Output is 6,000 watts of continuous output. I don't mess around with beast mode or boost mode, whatever it is. I just like my continuous output because that's a huge number. And it can surge all the way to 9,000 watts, ladies and gentlemen. We can expand this system all the way to 41.4 kilowatt hours. That's huge. That would probably run my house here or my apartment here for like 2 or 3 weeks easily during a power outage. And it's very nice to look at. I mean, that is a very pretty looking system. All right, let's see what else we have here. It has a fast speed recharging, so you can recharge the battery in 90 minutes or so. I think that the slower that you charge a battery, the better it is for the longevity of that battery, but you have the option to do so. Like every time that I get a solar generator, whenever I charge it, I always charge it on slow mode, right? So it's a great solar generator, or at least it looks like it's a great solar generator. But if anything ever happens with any solar generators that you get from OUPES, you don't have to really worry about it. They have a great warranty, and they've always had great customer service. I've had a few people say, hey, I got my OUPES and it didn't work, or this was wrong, but they exchanged it like that. And it hasn't even been that many people. But let's take a look at what kind of deals they have going on right now. So let's see, this is their Halloween flash sale. Okay, let's click on here and see what they've got going on. You still have about a day left, a day and a half left before this sale is over. And let's just take a look at a few of the prices. Here's your Mega 2 with 2,000 watt hours for $700. A Mega 2 plus a B2 external battery for $1,300. Now this combination here gives you about 4,100 watt hours, which is really good. Here's your Mega 3 for $1,099. That's a really good price. And you can always combine your Mega 3 along with another battery, a B2 battery for $1,600, which is a pretty good deal because you're getting 5,100 watt hours for this combination. And although you can get a Mega 5, which is around the same watt hours, maybe 100 watt hours or less or so, for about $20, $50 less or so, with the Mega 3 and the extra battery, you're getting a little bit more watt hours, but you have the availability of being able to take any of them portable a lot easier, all right? Because the Mega 5 does weigh about 120 pounds or so. So if you want to take this B2 battery, you can actually take it with you somewhere if you're only needing something that's going to power a 12-volt device. So it gives you a lot more flexibility. But if you have something that you want to be mostly stationary, just like I do, I will go with a Mega 5. This thing is a powerhouse, and the price is just unbeatable. I'm not going to go through everything else. I'm going to count on you to go ahead and click on the link and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope that whoever wins that Guardian 6000 is someone from the AP community. It would make me very happy. Go check out SIMPURE as well. Their sale ends today, the 5th of November. So go check them out and at least enter to win a free RO system. You have to watch the video, though, that I'm going to leave linked on here in a card. And I'll also leave the video link on a pinned comment along with the links for OUPES and SIMPURE. Having said that, I know I made this video probably way too long, but let's pray for New York City. Let's hope that the blow that they're about to receive is not going to be a death blow, but a blow that people can learn from. That socialism is not the way to go. God bless every one of you. I love you all. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.